Hey everyone, the past couple of months I've been building a 80s town of Lego, and with that comes a Lego 12-volt terrain layout. Unfortunately, a lot of bricks were yellowed, also from the sets that I bought on Bricklink. They were all yellow, so I wanted to de-yellow them. So I've been busy the whole summer with de-yellowing all the parts using peroxide solution and the sun. So I wanted to show you how that actually works, but no sun today. So we have to wait a few days and then I'm gonna show you how it all works. Little did I know that it would become one rainy winter. It was just like an extended autumn. That's it. I'm gonna build my own sun. And this is the end result. This is not the first prototype that I built. The first prototype was pretty simple. It just had two light bulbs that you see here. This wooden structure that I built from scratch wood from the garage. And it had a switch to turn the lights on and off. And that worked. There was only one downside, and that soon I forgot that I had the thing running, and I had it run for, I don't know, 3 hours too much, and this was the result. As you can see, the green stuff is fading, and so I can throw it away. It's completely, well, it de-yellowed too much. There's a white film on top of it, I don't know exactly, but ready for the garbage, I could say that. So then I came up with the second prototype. That's the one that you see here. I reused the whole wooden structure. I had the idea to actually build a third prototype, a slick looking metal machine, something like that, but I'm like, this works just fine for me, so I'm gonna leave it like this. So what you see here is there's a control unit on top of this. There's an Arduino inside that controls the whole thing, and there's a display and some action buttons that I can press to set some stuff up. So mainly I've built this so I can set up the time that I want it to be enabled. So I can set it for 10 minutes or for 120 minutes, whatever I want in steps of 10 minutes. And after that time it just disables it by itself. And then there's no problem to leave the bricks, or in this case the base plate, in the fluid for a few hours, because the UV light is gone, so nothing will happen to it. These are, by the way, UVA lights, which are a bit different from the standard UV lights that you see, which are UVB, like black light. And that's where I was wrong, because black light is actually UVA light with a longer wavelength than we need to de-yellow Lego. If you look at the properties of a standard blacklight tube, you see that they emit around 370 nanometers, while we need 325 nanometers. You see that also the bandwidth along the 370 nanometers of a blacklight tube is very narrow, so at 325 you don't have any intensity left. Does that mean that you can't use blacklight to de-yellow Lego? Not entirely, because the 325 that we need to de-yellow Lego, that's the sweet spot. That's the only number I could find on the internet, and we know that that's the sweet spot, but I assume that there's a bandwidth along it. So maybe the process works also at 310 and maybe also at 350, which comes close to the 360 or 370 of the blacklight tube. So there could be some overlap of these two. So the process does work at that point, but it won't be as efficient as it will be at 325. So it takes much longer time and energy to actually get the same result, if you can get the same result. I haven't tested it, so I don't know. I've also taken a look at UVA LEDs. Those are in the same realm as the tubes. They also emit black light around 365 nanometers, also with a very narrow bandwidth. So you get the same results with the blacklight tubes. So not very suitable. So there's also UVB lights that are broadly available, because they are used in terrariums to heat up your pet dinosaur and stuff like that. But those have a wavelength that is too short, so you can't use them either. So that's it. Back to you, Arjen. There's also a temperature sensor, and can you see it? I don't know. It's on this wire, and that's very important because in the first unit that I built, the water was getting extremely hot. It was like 40-45 degrees Celsius. I couldn't stick my hand in, it was too hot. I needed to do something about that as well. That's why I installed a temperature sensor, and what I noticed was that the ideal temperature of this process is 25 degrees or above. I don't know the upper limit, if there is any. The temperature sensor in the water makes sure that the water temperature doesn't exceed 30 degrees. So it's heated up by the lamps, and when it's around 27 degrees or so, the fan here starts to kick in, and the higher the temperature of the water gets, the faster the fan will spin. This control unit, I can set up the time that I want it to run. I can select bulb 1 or light bulb 2 or both, and basically there's also a few settings that I can enter. And settings is the set point for the water temperature. I can edit the PID settings for the fan control, and I can also have a look at the operating hours, because these lamps have like 1,000 hours of a life cycle, and I want to keep a bit of track of how many hours they have run. So that's what I have installed in this unit here. I use the system in the winter time. This garage where I'm in is not isolated, so right now it's I don't know, 5 degrees or something in here. So after a night the water in here will also be 5 degrees, and you need to heat up the water, so I can use the heat of the lamps for that. So I don't have to install also a heater or something like that. That's why I also choose the bulbs, because I couldn't find any LED strips, and I could use the heat after all. So only the second half of a session of 120 minutes you have to enable the fan to blow off some heat, otherwise the whole thing becomes too hot. Well, that's about it. We're gonna de-yellow this base plate, and let's get started. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna de-yellow this base plate over here, and if you look closely you can see that there's already some damage to the green print. I don't know what happened. I got it like this from Bricklink, and also here you see that it's already a bit faded. So it's very important that I don't keep it in too long, because then the base plate will be ruined. So I'm gonna start off with the solution is still cold, so I think about 1 hour and 40 minutes, something like that. So let's see how it actually works and how I'm doing that. So this one is bad, so I'm gonna put it over there. So the first thing is I'm gonna get the base plate. I already got my gloves on. When you're using with chemicals, always use your personal protection equipment. It's very important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this base plate inside the solution. I'm going to place some weight bricks on top of it, and make sure that it stays down, because what actually happens is that you'll get some bubbles forming, and those bubbles, hey, there's a lost brick. And those bubbles, these they will make the whole thing float a bit. So you need to keep it down with a few bricks. The downside now is that you actually see that there's some spots where the light won't reach it. It's below the bricks, the weight bricks. So that's not a big deal. You'll just have to also light that part. So after like 1 hour, for example, you'll just have to replace them a bit, but I'm going to show you how exactly what it looks like. So I'm going to place them like this, and I'm going to set up the unit on top of this bin, and then I'm going to set up the time, and I'm going to show you how it all works. So I placed the unit on top of the bin, and what you see hanging here is a temperature sensor that measures the temperature of the solution. Let's see if I can do that with one hand. Now the next thing is that we enable the unit flipping the switch, and now you see that we have a, I hope you can see it, we have a menu, and I got a few buttons here that I can press, and with that I can actually make the whole thing work. And as you can see, there are some settings that I can enter, this fan speed and stuff like that, and the temperature set points. And but we're going to use a new session. Bulb 1 and 2. Set the time at, I'm gonna do 80 hours, then I need to change 80 minutes, then I need to change the position of the weight blocks probably. Let's do 90 because the water is still pretty cold. Start. And the tick that you heard was were the relays flipping on, and as you can see the water is now 6 degrees and the lights are on. So it's doing its thing right now. So we'll just have to wait 90 minutes, and then we're gonna have a look at how it looks like. And it's done. Believe it or not, I forgot about this thing because I was building the town in the attic. And so it has been for 90 minutes below the lights, and they were already shut off automatically, but I forgot to remove the weight blocks. So probably now there will be a difference between the parts under the blocks and the parts that are exposed. So let's get a brush and let's see if we can see the difference a bit. Yeah, you can see it, but come on, focus man. You can see it, but I don't know if you can see it through the camera under the water. But if you look closely, you can see a yellow spot. That's where the brick was. And also on this side, it's even more clear where the brick is. There's the yellow spot. So that means I need to expose it a bit more. Not that much, because the experience is that you only need to expose it just for half an hour when the water is the right temperature, which is the case right now. So I'm gonna expose it for half an hour more, and then this base plate will be done. And this is the end result. So let's have a look. Yes, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the light, the yellow parts are gone now, and it's all nice and smooth gray again. So success. So what I now basically do is I'm gonna wash this off with water, then I'm gonna let it dry for a while, and I'm gonna use it in my village. So next to base plates you can also de-yellow parts, of course, and there's two ways to do that. One way is just dump all the parts into the fluid and let the UV light do its job. Well, that doesn't work really, because all the parts are floating up, and you get more UV exposure on the top than on the bottom. So you need to stir around a lot, like every 10 minutes or so, and still you don't have a complete nice end result. There are always parts that haven't been exposed on every side in the same way. That's why I came up with this idea. I just use a base plate and I put all the parts on, and I make sure that the top and also the sides are exposed completely to the UV light. This is one example. I got another example right here. And what you see here also is the inverted slopes. I place them in a manner that the light comes from above, that they're exposed like this. And the bottom part now, or the upper part of the inverted slopes, they don't get much light, but that doesn't matter, because there will be bricks on top of it. So let's start with this one here. As you can see, there are some very yellow bricks, and I'm not sure if this and this will completely de-yellow, because it has been yellowed quite a lot. But we're gonna have a look. I'm gonna put it in the fluid, and let's see the end result later on.
Alright, I'm gonna place on top of the bin the UV light. Alright, let's wait 2 hours. And that's it. Now, let's move the unit off. Oh dear, I see some floating pieces. Alright, one piece came off, which isn't a big deal actually. Let's take this one out. And it looks quite nice actually. Also the super yellowed parts now seem to be not completely white, I believe, but almost white. And the other parts that were partly yellowed, these are just fine, as you can see. So this works just perfectly. So what I just showed you, this technique, so you can do this also in summertime. The thing you need is basically sunlight and a bit of heat, because you need the water to be like 25 degrees or something like that, Celsius. And if the sun is strong enough, you can do it like this. And you don't need an expensive UV lamp or stuff like that. You just place the bin into the sun and the sun does the job. So that's what I've been doing all summer, but I still had a lot of bricks to de-yellow. That's why I continued working in wintertime. Alright, you almost made it to the end of this video. Thank you for that, or maybe just skipped until now. That's fine too. We're gonna have a look at the Lego city. If you have any questions about de-yellowing Lego, please let me know in the comments and I'll reply to that. We're gonna have a look at the city right now. It's still work in progress. If you want to know more about this Lego town, then head over to my work in progress channel. I got a whole video series about building up this town, and I'll put the link in the description of this video. Like I said, work in progress, so not everything is ready. There isn't a backdrop yet, there will be one. I intentionally did some with the lighting, so this is not very good lighting. I did that intentionally, so I don't want to spoil everything, you know. So I just want to show you some running trains and a quick walkthrough through the city, so let's start with that. So this is the 80s town like it is right now, and almost every grey and white brick that you see in this layout has been de-yellowed. I started with this early spring last year, and yeah, I'm kind of finished now. Finally. Another awesome thing about the 80s were the 12-volt trains with all the remote controls that you can buy. And with these you can flip switches and signals, and also decoupling units. So very awesome. Next to that I got a bunch of lighting in here. I don't know exactly, something like 60 light bricks are in here, and that results in a total of around 300 meters of wire in the city. So that's a lot. And you see here and there some cables running, and yeah, that's about it that I can tell you about the city. There's one piece missing there, and that's because this is now also my home office, since we're in lockdown due to the coronavirus. So I hope you're all well. And now let's start up some trains and make some great footage. Alright, this was it. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, let me know what you think about this 80s town of mine. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so, to make sure that you're gonna see the end result. So thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Oh, and by the way, like this video, very important. Thank you. Bye.